Actually, it was good to see that there are projects with a lot of innovative ideas towards energy transition, which is actually our session, our next session, because we are going to talk about emerging innovations in energy transition and spatial planning. That session will mostly focus on technology and planning that can drive the low carbon and sustainable blue economy in the Black Sea. My name is Thanos Smanis. I'm part of the Black Sea Assistance Mechanism supporting the Common Maritime Agenda with a team. And I will try now to invite and introduce our estimated speakers. I will start with Dr. Gema Bruno Feio from CINEA. She coordinates the implementation of the Common Maritime Agenda Assistance Mechanism and the Energy Transition Partnership Assistance Mechanism. Gema, please sit over here. Then I will invite Dr. Natasa Vadianu. She is an associated professor at Ovidius University of Constanza, but also a researcher at the University of Bucharest. She is a very known expert on maritime spatial planning, marine governance, but also on social dimensions of the blue economy, with extensive participation in EU and national projects. And finally, I will invite Dr. Milen Baltov, rector of the University of Burgas in Bulgaria and the national contact point of the EU Horizon Europe Mission Oceans. Professor Baltov is deeply involved in innovation networks, EU-funded initiatives, and the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership, bringing both academic but also the strategic policy perspective. As I said, I will sit next to you. I feel better like that. In this session, as we said, we will explore more ideas and strategies shaping the offshore renewable energy, which is very much linked also with the maritime spatial planning. Considering the shift to low-carbon blue economy, we will need to highlight how technology and the integrated planning can transform the seascape. So let's try to align the regional strategies with innovation and coordination, but also how inclusive growth and resilience and resilient energy transition can take place. I will start with Gema, and we would like to hear from you how is the EU steering actually this sustainable energy transition at the sea, and what does this mean for fisheries and aquaculture, especially in the communities of the Black Sea?
Well, it's working. Good morning, everybody. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me here today. Today I'm speaking on behalf of Gema, my colleagues in Brussels that are dealing with the file on energy transition, that they could not come here. So just this little introduction, I would like to do a couple of clarifications for the audience about the energy transition. So what I'm going to tell you today is about the energy transition in the fisheries and aquaculture sector. So I'm not talking today about the energy transition for the shipping sector, and I'm not talking today about renewable energy generation offshore. Okay, so just to, to put the people in the right context. So what are we doing in the European Commission? In 2023, the European Commission published the communication on the energy transition for the fisheries and aquaculture sector, with a goal to achieve climate neutrality of the sector by 2050. So in this sense, one of the first actions that the Commission, particularly DG Mare, who is the manager of this file, DG Mare set up an energy transition partnership. So the energy transition partnership in the last 2 years has produced a lot of interesting output for you. The first is that there is a guide we compile in a report, funding guide, like a European funding guide with opportunities for funding on the energy transition. We also published a techno-economic study on the different technologies and solutions for achieving the energy transition in this sector. And by the end of this year, there will be two reports from the Commission on the greenhouse gases emissions for the fisheries and aquaculture. Now, the European the Energy Transition Partnership is a consultation process. So it's a partenariat that involves all the stakeholders and that is collecting all the input through different seminars, workshops, and there you can have your voice. So it's a transparent and it's an integrated approach. And for the Black Sea, what it means, the energy transition, the European transition on fisheries and aquaculture for the Black Sea, what is a very diverse region with some members and non-members of the EU. Well, I think the most important is the cooperation at the sea level, the sea basin level, the local involvement with the local culture and the local knowledge. Because fisheries and aquaculture is very specific and is very local and regional specific. And something that is never mentioned, but the relevance of the value chain. So when we talk about energy transition, there might be several actors involved in a value chain from different countries. And this is the beauty of Europe, that we can come all together with our knowledge and make it happen. For example, the Energy Transition Partnership is now reaching actions at a regional level. And on the 4th and 5th of November, there is a conference organized in Finland by the ministry who wants to tackle the local actors of the Baltic Sea for the energy transition in fisheries. I can go on, but I think...
Yes.
Okay, we can talk later. I'm around, so if somebody is interested, I'm going to be around.
Quite important, Gema, that you mentioned the cooperation, but also the local scale, because this is something that we really need to consider, especially for all the value chain, as you mentioned. Natasa, we talked about aquaculture, about fisheries, but we have other sectors like renewable energy, biodiversity protection, and other uses. And I would like to hear from you how the maritime spatial planning can evolving to give a balance between these different sectors, particularly in the cross-border Black Sea context.
Hi, good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me here. It's a real pleasure to speak in such a beautiful building. I represent today like the European Maritime Special Planning Assistance Mechanism, and as we already heard this morning, that the Black Sea is a basin of geopolitical and ecological importance, but with a lot of pressures. We have to speak about the pollution, we have to speak about the characteristics, because the Black Sea is an anoxic sea, so with high vulnerable ecosystems. And from this perspective, the MSP is a public process and is crucial for this area. And from this point of view, I think that the key factors, because we have EU countries and non-EU countries, so the cross-border cooperation is very important. And together with environmental based approach, I think that the Black Sea will reach, I can say, a good environmental status. But what are the key factors? Because we already know that Romania and Bulgaria are looking for large-scale wind development facilities on offshore, of course, and also we have to deal with the European directives on designating new MPAs, and of course the essential. We don't have to forget about the essential sectors like tourism, like fishing, but also cultural heritage is very important for this area. So we have to maintain and also to protect these sectors. And from this point of view, I think that we have to have in mind two lenses when speaking about MSP in the Black Sea. So this transboundary cooperation, and we already have projects finished or in place, like Mars Plan, like Bridge, Connect, Doors, all these sister projects, but also Interreg Next Black Sea initiatives. So we have this in order to emphasize and protect the environment, but also for cooperation and dialogue. And from this point of view, I think that we have to address nature inclusive and climate smart objectives in order to achieve those ecological, economic and social objectives. And what for example, we have to use the coexistence approach, because if we have multi-use in one space, it's better. For example, if we want to sit a offshore wind farm in a place, we have to we can incorporate aquaculture if there are proper physical characteristics there. So but I think there are still two challenges. So one, we have to have standardized data collection and integration. So we still have to work on this and to have, and how to say, to engage in the results already made by projects like DOORS or other projects, European projects in this area. And I think that also what we need political will, yeah, at regional level in order to implement this process.
Thank you, Natasa. Actually, you mentioned the good environmental status and the importance of harmonization of data. And we have seen in the posters also a Mars Map project that is very much related, an Interreg project. But as you mentioned, it's very important to consider the multi-use approach. So I would like to go to Milen and ask how the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership is actually promoting the development and technology adoption, considering this multi-use approach for infrastructure and offshore energy developments.
Thank you, Thanos, and let me start with the best of compliments to the Ukrainian presidency of the CMA. We stand with you, and also for the Romanian hosts, as always at a high level, and happy to be here in Constanța. Coming to the question and the SBEP, the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership is the biggest public-private partnership supported by Horizon program, meaning that it is only co-financed with 30% from the Commission, and the gross amount for 5 years, it's quite probable to reach €500 million in projects that will be distributed, because still the costs are running on. And it's not only the money, as there was a famous saying, it's not, it's the economy you fool, so it's the blue economy now. Because one of the calls is directly formulated as offshore marine multi-use infrastructure to support the blue economy. And already in the first round, there were two extremely successful such projects. And speaking of projects, normally the volume is between 15 to 20, 25 million. One, because I know the persons, we are friends with him, is run by Lorenzo Capietti, leading the University of Florence, and it's called FAMOS. It's about modular floating islands with the idea to achieve, and I'm pretty sure it will be ready, the so-called autonomous archipelago for energy and food needs. It means autonomous, that all the energy on these artificial islands will be produced there. A combination of course, wind, solar, but also wave energy. And the good thing all around is that, yes, They still don't have a name, but I will propose a name to call them Christo, because Christo in the past, the artist, he's with Bulgarian origin. He was the one to create these artificial islands on the Como Islands. And the other one called Inspire, and it is once again in this field, but with the big idea to reproduce this offshore energy into hydrogen storage energy, and with the big idea to, as much as possible, to avoid using for the magnetic mainly these rare earth materials, and to increase the reuse of them. So it will come with a big impact, but now it's a moment to mention, or maybe later I will mention about the spatial planning.
Okay. Thank you very much. So we see that there are plenty of initiatives running already under SMEP, and it's important that you mentioned also the co-financing with the national funds, but also the EC funds. Yeah.
Speaking about co-financing, in fact, there are big corporations that are using new technologies, and it's a kind of de-risking of their future investments.
Public-private partnerships. Yes, exactly. Of course, I should not forget Slido. Michaela will kill me if I forget that, I guess. So please use Slido to ask questions. We may have some time to go through these questions with our speakers. But let's try now to discuss a bit about the challenges and best practices. So, Gema, you mentioned before the Energy Transition Partnership actively supporting the work and the preparation of this draft roadmap for energy transition. How do you think that can a diverse region like the Black Sea can play a meaningful role? You mentioned before the local aspects, but let's elaborate on that.
Yes, so now it's
Now? Yes.
Okay, so I don't have much time, so I'm gonna just talk step by step. So the first step is that you become a member of the partnership, okay? So during the lunch break, I brought some little souvenirs from Brussels, so you can inscribe to the partnership. So first of all, you need to be part of the consultation. Second, the Energy Transition Partnership is working in 10 working groups with 10 coordinators, and is touching upon many, many aspects, from research to policy, governance. So what we are doing now is we are collecting the recommendations from each of the working groups in order to come up next year with a roadmap. So the Commission will launch a roadmap next year, which includes the recommendations, but the recommendations are not only blah, blah, blah. The recommendations, they come with actions, okay? And here in the actions is where you can make a mark. Overall, in aquaculture, we know there is the Common Maritime Agenda Technical Expert Group on aquaculture, where you are discussing your knowledge, your tradition, and you are well advanced. So I think all the input of this technical expert group can go directly to the partnership. But then you also can contribute with your ideas, tailor at the local level and the regional needs. So as you heard this morning, Iglika, we are going through a macro-regional policy dimension where every voice counts. So it is very important for you to be part of this. I invite you all to come to Brussels on the 17th of February, because there is the high-level conference organized by the Commission, with the Council, with the Parliament. There will be a lot of people there where the recommendations are going to be presented. And I encourage you to register to the partnership and be part of it, because, as I mentioned, it's a consultation process. All the boys are here, and it is very interesting to learn from each other. Okay, and next year, sorry, with this, yes, I finished. Yeah. Next year, when we will implement the roadmap with the actions, our intention is to make the roadmap local, so that there's really implications and real output. And in the energy transition for the fisheries and aquaculture, I would like to tell something, if you allow me. just to avoid some myths. Energy transition is not only investing a lot of money on new technologies that there is no market and they are very unsecure and you don't know. It's also a lot about energy efficiency. Energy efficiency is already available. You know, because the Black Sea has already some technologies and some knowledge about energy efficiency and smart technologies that you can optimize. Because if you optimize, you reduce your consumption, so you reduce your energy bills. And at the end of the day, one of the purposes of the energy transition is not only to achieve the 2050 objectives, but that you pay less for your energy bills, for your operational and maintenance costs. So just keep this in mind. Energy transition is not only technology, it's also energy efficiency.
Very good point. And that goes directly to the communities themselves, let's say. So, Natasa, coming back to you, you mentioned about the multi-use of the MSP, but at the same time, we have a multi-governmental level for maritime spatial planning. So, how can the national and regional strategies can be implemented in a local level now that we open this?
Yeah, definitely. We know, yeah, we have European directives, we have regional strategies, we have national laws, and all of them are looking to balance, the economic growth, the environmental protection, or social well-being. But for these visions to succeed, we have to work at local level, because it's very important to go there and to have like a one space approach, because somehow we still in the Black Sea Basin, or at least in Romania, we have this division. We have the coastal management and we have the maritime planning. So we have to look at this like a single space, and we must use the land-sea interactions. So from this perspective, I think that it's very important to engage stakeholders, and somehow we can see that there is a gap between high-level policy documents and what's happened actually at local level, the reality at local level. And from this point of view, I think that we need a stronger stakeholder participation here. So, but maybe not only participation, we have to, and a lot of projects already did this, to engage people in living labs, participating in living labs, or local workshops, or I don't know, maybe some online tools. And but I think that is not only it's not only consultation, I can say, it's more capacity building. Why? Because in these countries, I think we need to have, I can say, experts at the local level on MSP principles, and they need the technical expertise in order to understand the plans firstly, and to how to work in order to implement properly those plans. Because if they don't understand the plan, it's easier to understand that, to see that things are not working well in that place. And I think that if we have this, we have a predictability for investors. So, and it's obvious this, and also we assure the sustainability of the environment, and also I think that also coastal communities have a security, I can say.
Very good recommendation regarding the capacity building, that all the projects that are running, but not just the projects, also the research academia can really support towards this dimension. But as you mentioned, the public consultation is quite critical to participate, and as Iglika mentioned before, towards the Ocean Pact, the upcoming public consultations could be quite useful. Let's discuss about some case studies, Milen, about of innovation enabling sustainable development in the region or pilot projects that are happening in the Black Sea.
Yes, thank you. Maybe it's good to mention that I'm not as academic at the moment. I'm more as economist and more as because the Burgas Free University is part of the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership from the very beginning. And yes, there are already cases of organizations from the Black Sea that are involved in the first round of projects financed by RESBEP. A reference I can make with Plan, where we have several organizations, but I may mention one of our previous project doors. Now I see Adrian Stanica here, because the Karadenis Technical University from Trabzon is a partner here, and also a partner is, and I will bridge to another project in a minute, also the Bursa Technical University. The ambition of this MEDSE plan, although it is not totally focused on Black Sea, is to consider and to have this kind of simulations related with the maritime spatial planning, but mainly focused with the maritime industrial vessels, and the other focus on the data from the floating data buoys that are existing at the moment. And speaking about the interest of the business, definitely during the DORSPA project, we made our local events, but they were not only events. At certain moment, we realized that BMF Port Burgas, which is concessionaire in Burgas port of the Navi Bulgar, is mostly interested because the flow of sediments on the bottom of the sea and the change of this kind of mapping is not something that they are not interested how much and when to plan their investment in digging the port infrastructure. And mentioning the Bursa Technical, we just started with Bursa Technical, Professor Gökçe is here, and with the Tourist Institute in Batumi, our friend Mamuka is here. We started a project financed by, here is the Bulgarian representative of the Black Sea Economic Corporation, a tiny project. It's a pilot for Black Sea Blue Ports Index. So it might evolve in something bigger. And coming back to the words of Natasha that we should act locally, the mayor of the city of Pomorie is here, a very major and very key, not only ancient municipality in Bulgaria. They have a marvelous plan about spatial planning, which might be the first step, and based on the investors' interest, they might go on further. And it is, yes, this is the open door for a project that they might join.
Thank you. Very interesting to share that there is already a lot of collaborations between the countries, I would say, in the region, which is very important. It's actually one of the main targets of the Common Maritime Agenda. I would like now to check with Slido if we have any questions that anyone would like to take. The most voted one is, what steps does the Commission take to ensure the just energy transition, not in terms of biodiversity, but society too? Gema, would you?
What steps does the Commission
Yes.
take to ensure just energy transition, not in terms of biodiversity, but society too? This is a very complex question.
Yeah.
I don't know who did it. But here, first of all, we are not talking about just transition, okay? For the just transition, you know that the Commission has a separate fund and a separate, policy on the just transition with the just transition European funds. So we're not talking about that here. So what we are talking about here is energy transition for fisheries and aquaculture, for which the European Commission has set up a partnership that you should join. So the first thing today is to go to the Commission website, look for the Maritime Forum, Look within the Maritime Forum for the Energy Transition, Partnership for Fisheries and Aquaculture, and register. Join the community.
Yeah.
When you join the community, you will have access to a huge database of best practices, networking, actors, value chain, projects. You are part of the team, you will be consulted, and your voice is very, very relevant, whether you are a European or a non-European, because in terms of knowledge, technology, and best practices sharing, there is no nationality that counts.
Yes.
Okay?
Perfect. And no, it's yours. I will close with one question to Natasa, because there is a question if we can have a regional maritime spatial plan in the Black Sea. It's complicated. I would like just a word from you.
Yeah, it's complicated, but we have already a good practice. We have in Marspan project, it was Bulgaria and Romania worked together, and it is a plan for Mangalia Shabla area together. So this is the first step, and we can learn from this. But yeah, it's difficult with EU and non-EU countries, but I know that Turkey, as well as Georgia and also Ukraine, they have made progress in this way.
Exactly. Yeah. Perfect. So there is a lot of room to collaborate further in order this regional approach, yes. Which is, by the way, in other sea basins like the Mediterranean or the Atlantic is already trying to give this regional perspective. So it's very good to hear for the Black Sea that we are on the same way. I will try to close this now. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you here. And I will invite Mr. Bocci for plenary session 3, which has to do with how we can finance innovation and startups actually in the coastal community level. So, Mr. Bocci, everything is yours.